Tehawa, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Dash. Welcome to another GMS on the Move. This one is called Integrity versus Sellouts. I just finished watching the video that Elder Apostle Bar did dealing with Eleazar, the old man that was 90 years old and was offered an easy way out of his situation, and he didn't take it. And that is the ultimate level of integrity, you know. Now, what I was thinking about towards the end of the lesson was, you know, how you had wicked Israelites that were sellouts, and under the old master, the Greeks at that time, they were the ones that were putting hell on. When we read First Maccabees, the first chapter, it says that among the Israelites there were not wicked men. So you have to remember that the people that were administering that punishment upon Eleazar were other Israelites that were sellouts. And it's going to be no different in this time. You know, the scriptures say, never trust thine enemy. You know, and time again, these devils prove that they are the enemy. You know, I always refer back to the scouts among Gad. You know, I always refer back to the scouts among Gad. How without the scouts and without that Gatling gun, they would have never really been able to take Gad down. And the Lord set it up that way so that Gad could go down, because that was a part of the punishment. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And once these devils used those scouts and took down the other Gadites, what happened? They were thrown right in the same reservation camps and right in the same conditions that they were subjecting their brothers and sisters to, their own people. You know, so it suits them well. So in this time, you're going to have sellouts, you know, and you have sellouts, not going to have sellouts. You have sellouts, you know, that are taking the bag, that are wanting to keep an easy life, a comfortable life for themselves, and they're going to sell out to Esau. You know, just like those men that, you know, were bringing the torments, the sword torments upon Eleazar, a 90-year-old Israelite man at that. They were Israelites that did that. So those are those sellouts. So those sellouts, they're going to help Esau try to establish this, you know, so-called New World Order, this agenda. Now you already have Israelites out there, men and women, that help this devil out, that don't know about the truth, that are not involved in knowing that they're Hebrew Israelites. But you also have Hebrew Israelites, and you have top men among the Hebrew Israelites that have sold out, that are in league with these devils. You know, and they're going to be the main ones that are going to be used against other Israelites when the time comes. You know, and don't be surprised if some of those same Israelites are used to administer torments upon brothers, just like they did to Eleazar. Remember, it wasn't the Greeks that tormented Eleazar. It was his own people, sellouts among his own people, that put those torments upon him. Remember that. When you read that history, when you read that account, it wasn't Antiochus Epiphanes and his crew that came in there, other Edomite Greeks that started putting the torture on Jake, even though they started the shit. You had officer, inside joke. No, you had overseers among the Israelites that were doing these things. And not only were they compelling, you know, the Israelites to eat swine's flesh, not circumcise their children, not keep the Sabbath day, dally with harlots, do all these things that were unlawful or profane. You know, they also were torturing, you know, Israelites that refused to bow down to the orders of the Hellenization order of Antiochus Epiphanes, because remember, he wrote a law into effect to his whole kingdom, that everyone should leave the laws of their fathers and follow the law of the heathens. So once it was established, who did he use to push it? Other Israelites. You had in everywhere that these things were set up, you had Israelites that were sellouts, you know, that were administering the laws, the rules, the regulations of Antiochus Epiphanes. You had an instance right after the destruction of the temple, where you had this one Jake, I believe it was an officer of the Greeks, and a Jake that was doing, you know, going through the custom rights and all that bullshit, you know, of the Greeks. Then all of a sudden, Mattathias, which was the father of the Maccabees, you know, of them, he slew that dude. He killed him. And I believe he said he also killed the officer also with him, you know, because of the zeal of the Lord. So you had integrity, what Mattathias did, what the Maccabees did, what Eleazar did, what that woman with the 7 sons did. You had integrity versus sellouts. What them friends, so-called friends of Eleazar did to him, what that individual did, you know, when he was sacrificing swine's flesh, you know, and was killed by Mattathias. You know, what the other Israelites did when they sold out to the Greeks, were doing the Greekish fashions, you know, were sewing foreskins back on their penis, were setting up exercise gyms in Jerusalem. Those were the sellouts versus those that had integrity, you know. And Israelites that were tormenting others for not keeping the way of the Greeks. And that's a very important thing to think about and consider, because it was the sellouts that helped, even though Antiochus Epiphanes and the Greek Edomites set up and established his Hellenism or Hellenization, it was Jakes that was helping keep it alive, keep it pushing. When you look at this society, Babylon the Great America, who's the ones mainly keeping this society afloat? Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, the rest of the tribes, setting up and holding up this place. Who's a face out there? A lot of the faces out there pushing, you know, this Vicky's Venom, you know, Vicky Vale's Venom, Triple V. They're Israelites pushing this. It's no different than the Greek Empire. So this is the Greek Empire all over again. This is the Roman Empire all over again. This is Hellenization, Romanization, all wrapped up into one, which today it's called Americanization. And that's what they're doing. That's why it says that among my people are found wicked men. And what do these wicked men do? They persuade others to do this thing. Like when that woman called the show Cross the Line, and she was talking to Captain Tazaryak and Katazar, you could tell that the woman was hurt, because she would say, well, y'all taught me not to take this man's venom, you know, not to trust anything, you know, or that the so-called white man does, blah, blah, this, that, and the other. And then here you got Captain, I used to call him Captain Cleanup, but now he's just making a mess all over the place, you know, and he's like, well, you know, the Vicky's Venom, you know, that's natural. You know, the people that Christ, that's what he called him, Christ, Yahweh Shai, healed, were not sick in that way. You know, and other bullshit and madness that he was spewing out of his mouth. And this is the same thing that they were doing back then. Remember, it says avoid them that cause offenses contrary to the doctrine, because it said with fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. And that's what they're doing, these fair speeches. You know, he gets in that posture of that serpent, you know, and spews that venom out, and to the unsuspecting public of these Israelites, they get confused because damn, he's so calm and he's saying these words that are just so comforting. Well, that's the scriptures say that the devil's gonna come like that. He ain't gonna come like a monster. He's gonna come, you know, like an angel of light. He's gonna appear to be the most nicest, the best dressed, you know, the most eloquent, the most that has the greatest posture. But inwardly, there's nothing but venom coming out of him. When you read Isaiah the 59th chapter, that's talking about Israelites. You know, it speaks about the cockatrice egg and hatching and bringing forth more vipers. And that's what them guys are. They're nothing but a bunch of vipers. Just like those devils that tortured Eleazar were nothing more than a bunch of vipers. And a lot of those wicked Pharisees and Sadducees that Yahushua cursed out, they were nothing more than those ancient vipers that were among the Greeks. You know, some of them broke away, some of them kept to the so-called laws, you know, or the not the so-called, but the laws of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, because there was a division in Israel. Because remember, they said, well, no, but they were keeping the law. The Greeks, the Hellenized Greeks weren't keeping the law. Yeah, but who were the a lot of those wicked Pharisees and Sadducees under? They were under the rule of the Romans. So they call themselves keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, but they really weren't, because they were upholding, you know, the gifts and stuff like that in higher honor than the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And they also said, we have no king but Caesar. And if we don't do something, the Romans are going to come and take both our place. So are they really serving the Lord, or were they really serving the Romans? They were serving the Romans, man. So a lot of those leaders were some of the same individuals back then that were in the Hellenization period, you know. But now, when the Roman Empire was set up in the reincarnation, they was doing nothing more than the bidding of their father. That's why Yahushua said, ye are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth. When he speaketh the lie, speaketh of his own, because he is a liar and the father of it. And that's exactly what these sellouts are. Nothing more than devils and vipers, you know, cockatrice eggs, these adders, deaf adders, these wicked men that are found among the Israelites, you know, these blind leaders of the blind, you know, these ones that if you follow them, you're going to fall in a ditch. And they're not going to come, you know, with the rah-rah. They're going to come calm, cool, collective, as angels of light, giving these fair speeches, you know, sounding like great orators, knowing how to spin their web with the bullshit that they talking about. And here it is, the woman is asking about Vicky Vale's Venom, the triple V. This dude, what they always do, oh, do you take the white man's medicine? And she said no. She said, when I was young I did, but now I don't. I grow my own stuff. She said she grow her own herbs, blah blah, this, that, and the other. And then here comes this demon, Kataza. Do you drink the white man's water? What? What the fuck does the water have to do with that venom? But this is what they do. Well, how do you know what they put in that water? You know, like this. But this is what these demons do. You know, this is what these, you know, fair speeches. You know, they subvert the minds of the foolish, the ones that are not grounded. Because that's exactly what them guys are doing, and that's what they resort to. Oh, well, don't you take cough medicine? Don't you take this? Don't you go to the store and buy aspirin? Don't you? Isn't that the same thing? No, it's not the same thing. Is it poisonous? Yes, it's poisonous still, but it's not the same thing as injecting something into your bloodstream. You know? Hey, but you know, y'all people, and you know, we was feeling kind of bad about the chick, but then others, man, fuck her, because she chose them. She went with them, and I'm pretty sure that when that whole shit, those false accusations that were coming against us were coming out, you know, about them calling us rapists, she was probably one of the main ones. Yeah, you fucking rapists, you this, you that, you fucking child molesters, you know, she was probably one of the main ones pushing that shit. Now all of a sudden, the same serpent turned around and stung her, and now she wants to cry boo-hoo. You know? Hey, it is what it is. You know, but this is integrity versus sellouts. And that's what you see going on. You know? That's exactly integrity versus sellouts. It's happened all throughout history. In every empire, you had integrity, those that were that had integrity, and those that were sellouts. You go back during the Babylonian Empire, you had Daniel and the 3 children. They were faithful to the Lord, even unto death. Even though they weren't put to death, the Lord delivered them. But they were ready. They were resolved within themselves to be put to death. That was integrity. And then you had those that sold out. You know, in every empire you had the sellouts, and you had those that kept their integrity. And that's what it's all about. It's integrity versus sellouts. You know? So let that be a lesson. You know, Eleazar, a man that was 90 years old, you know, he was tired, he was worn out. And even when they was tormenting him, you know, because the love that those demons had for him, because they knew him, turned into this bitter hatred and anger. That's why they tortured him extensively. You know, and here is this old man that's already tired, ready for the grave, is enduring this shit. You know? And within his mind, convincing himself that you know, for you know, pretty much for his integrity, that's why he's suffering those things. You know, because he could have made it easy for himself and not even have to break the law, but he would be breaking the law because he would have been deceitful. You know, and that's, I mean, Elder Pastor meant, you know, said it came to his mind, it came to my mind at the camp, because I thought about that this guy said he took, you know, Vicky Vale's Venom, but there's no proof of that. You know? So if he, let's say that he didn't take it, or he took a placebo or a collapsible, whatever, you know, that would be deceit. That would not be something that Eleazar would do. You know? And he knew he was going to be tortured, but he said, fuck it. You know? Because he did it for the glory of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. So that's inspirational. You know, and you know, camp is intense. So sometimes you want to go through certain subjects, but it's so intense, and the spirit is like the wind, it comes and it goes. You don't know where it's coming from, you don't know where it's going, and the subjects change up from moment to moment. You know, one minute you could be speaking about Esau, him going into slavery, then it'll jump to simple jakes, you know, then it'll jump on these women, you know, then it'll jump on the chariots, and then it may jump on the missile, you know, just different scenarios. It might jump on famines and the riots, and so it's intense. So it's hard to stay on one topic, you know, because the spirit is just moving so much. So the spirit jumped on Elder Apostle Gabar to go into it, you know, and that is a supreme example, you know, of integrity. And of course, you know, Yahushai's example is the ultimate example of integrity, you know, but then you have many other examples of integrity, you know, and then you have many examples of those that sold out, you know. I would read some of these precepts, but you know, I'm driving right now, but you know, I wish I would have brought out more precepts, but I brought out what the Spirit had me bring out. And that's, you know, like I said, it's integrity versus sellouts. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. To the next time I say shalom. And I was going to do a lesson at this place, you know, I was going to set up, but, you know, the Spirit really wasn't there. So I just kept listening to Elder Apostle Gabar's lesson, until the Spirit hit me just to, just to do like a GMS on the move and make a few points on that integrity versus sellouts. All right. So with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified. Your few sisters, to the next time I say shalom.